Hello, this is Mike. How are you?
Hi, Mike. This is Johannes Eckerström. How are you?
Good. How are you? How you doing today?
Doing great, doing great.
It's a pleasure to talk to you. I've been a big fan for a long time, and you guys are in New York right now, huh?
Yeah, exactly. It's me and the drummer being a bit of tourist and doing a bit of promotion and just having a splendid time.
Well, you picked a good couple of days to be here. It finally got a little warmer, but you're used to the cold weather.
Yeah, used to the cold so that it became almost a culture shock getting off with what's going up in Egypt for us, which was a nice feeling.
Yeah, I'm sure. Hey, look, I'm glad you guys are here. I wish you were back in the States playing again, but I'm sure that's going to happen pretty soon. I mean, it just seems like the band has been riding pretty high since the last record came out, and I know you're working on a new one right now. You're going to follow Black Waltz anytime soon?
Yeah, exactly. I'm actually calling to announce the release date of that with you. So stuff are definitely happening and cooking right now.
That's fantastic. So, anytime soon?
Yeah, the album is out on May 13th.
That's fantastic, man. And, you know, I tell a lot of people about the band. I'm always trying to promote you guys because I just love what you're doing. And a lot of people seem to think that Black Waltz is kind of like your first record, but in a way, it was the record that kind of broke the band. But you have so much great music, you know, before that I think a lot of new fans are just starting to discover right now.
Yeah, what it is that Black Waltz was really the album where we got our thing together for real. We've been, growing up in the spotlight at home in Europe, that we got to do our first album at a very young age. And with Black Waltz, we feel that we really got our stuff together in a way that we hadn't before. So that has given us a new level of attention. And secondly, also, is simply put, it's the first album we got to release in the U.S., which makes us seem extra new over here.
That's true. And you know, for the last 10 years, you guys have pretty much had the same lineup, I think, one change maybe. And that must really help out, with consistency and, just being tight together and knowing each other and your strengths and your weaknesses and how you play and get along.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, we most of us grew up together, and the newest addition, Tim, who's already been with us for like 2.5 years, he was part of the scene, part of the gangs, the larger group of people that were around on the shows back in the day when we were kids playing youth centers. So he's been part of the families for almost as long as the band has existed anyway. So it wasn't really a big step bringing him into the band. Also, since he turned out to be such a perfect fit, it's he wrote the song that is on Monday coming up as with a music video, first single, Hail the Apocalypse. It's his riff that kicks everything off with this new album cycle. So that says something.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing the new music. And, being together for so long now, and like it says, being friends and having that camaraderie going together, is that the hardest part of maintaining a band today, is finding the right musicians to play with, the right people? Because the business is a rough business. It has its ups and downs, but I mean, is being tight and being playing with the right people the hardest thing to maintain in a band today?
Well, in my experience, we have been successful in doing that. Mostly for more than 10 years now. So right now it seems pretty easy, but we were, I guess, early on very aware of the need for the right chemistry between members, and that we knew we were going to be a great band before we actually knew how to properly tune the guitars. Says something for the priority that we had this chemistry going very early on.
Yeah. The band over the years has been described in so many different ways. I mean, as far as genre defining goes, from melodic death metal to death metal, groove metal, hard rock, new metal. I mean, to me, it's just one thing, and you guys project that. Each album kind of gives the fans something a little different, but yet you always maintain that same sound where people know who you are. I mean, are you willing to, experiment to go out of the box with each and every record, or are you focused on, sounding the way you guys sound now and delivering that sound to the fans?
Oh, well, like I said, I guess it's a question of balance, because we did with Black Waltz again find our path to walk down musically. We're on a journey now where we are having, maybe not a specific goal set for ourselves, but still, we know more today about what we are and what we aren't than we ever have before. That being said, we also have pledged to ourselves to never repeat ourselves, which for each song you write it gets trickier and trickier,
Sure.
but still a challenge that we will never let go of, And so it's definitely, you will hear that it's Avatar in many, many, many ways, but these are songs that does not resemble any songs we've done before.
I think that's fantastic, because I love when a band could keep their identity, but yet, think outside the box and create new sounds and a different vision for the band with each and every record. It doesn't become stale that way. And you have fans that are kind of, they're on both sides of that. Some want to hear Black Waltz over and over and over again. Other fans want to hear that Avatar sound, but yet, like you said, something a little different each and every record. Do you worry about pleasing the fans, or is it more important to please yourselves and, the fans are going to come along for the ride with you?
I would say the later option there, because it's the only way I can see that you can actually achieve something bigger, something better, is if you first and foremost answer to yourself, and that is when you will find an audience, and a real audience that understands you and you understand. Otherwise, it's really hard to make something that is lasting and real, and that makes a difference if you are too concerned with what other people think. That concern is our concern is to make something as good as possible, and first and foremost, we're trying to impress each other.
True, that's so true. Do you remember the early days of the band when you work so hard to try and make it and get the name out there and get recognized and line up shows and try to get interest from record labels? Does that strive and that desire ever die out, or do you always feel like you're always like the underdog and you have to keep fighting to get ahead, or do you ever feel like we finally made it to a certain point now, we could kind of sit back and wait till the next level to come along?
Well, no, actually, there's still a whole lot of fighting left to do, and we look forward to that. We are still very much a DIY garage band, and we will keep on being that no matter what level we reach. And the fact that we want to stay in control and we want to build this on our own vision means that we always stay hungry, because there's still purely on a commercial success level, I think we have a very, very long way to go anyway, if that would keep us hungry. But artistically, the sky is the limit on that, and as long as we focus on things on that end, we will never be without motivation and never be without hunger. And if we are, then we might as well quit.
Yeah, that's so true. Like it says, there's so much going on out there in the music world today. 20 years ago, even before, the days of internet, you kind of had to focus on, the area that you came from, your town, and then kind of branch out, amongst your city and your state. Today with the internet, you click a button and your song can go all over the world within a matter of seconds. Does it make it easier for a band where you can get the name out a lot quicker to a large audience, or because today the internet is so just crowded with so many bands, it's actually harder that way, do you feel? Well,
since we are still, depending on who you ask, we're still a fairly young men, and so we never really got to experience on a larger scale that kind of organic geographical growing of a band, compared to that we've always been working in the information age. Our band is as old as Napster, more or less.
Yeah.
So we've always been in this digital world with the band, and so I think everything has its pros and cons. It's easier and cheaper to reach out in the world, but like you said, it's very, very crowded in a different way, and you have there those spots that you are aiming for suddenly are fighting about against or competing with, is a better way to put it, tens of thousands of other bands, and not just the kids in the garage on the other side of the streets for the youth center, and to organically grow from there. So it goes faster, but it goes both ways, I guess, nowadays.
Sure. Like I said, there's such a glutton of bands out there today, and most of them, aren't serious, or they're not really good musicians, and some of them are young and they're trying to start out. Do you think that kind of waters down the scene because there's so much for people to work their way through, like all the garbage, to kind of find somebody like Avatar who they've never heard before?
Well, in the long run, I don't think it's a problem, and I think it's been like that for a very, very, very long time. And in the end, the true innovation prevails. The best bands prevail in the long run. So I don't really see it as a problem in that sense.
Yeah.
But it's just part of a cycle. What happens when a new style emerges and new innovations are being made, then that explodes, then the copycats comes and they kill the fun for everyone, and then it starts over with something new. It's part of a cycle, but it's always like the true originators and the masters of each era always manage to prevail.
That's so true. It really is, and I love like over the last couple of years, you've become more theatrical with your your videos and your shows and everything.
Uh-huh.
Do you find that it's nice to like kind of mix it in with the music and give the fans a different experience?
Yeah, that is exactly what it's about. What we are doing is like we're thinking Avatar is more than a bunch of songs, and the live show is more than just hitting the play button on the stereo. We are we want to be an experience that is not just what you hear, but also what you see, feel, smell, touch, all that, something for all of the senses. And we do look at our band like a full piece of art where every aspect counts of it. So it all comes from there, and you want everything to fit and make sense and pull in the same direction.
Sure. I mean, is touring like the main priority for the band, getting out there and playing live, or do you feel like it's in the studio?
I'm sorry?
Going out on tour, playing the live shows, is that the most important thing today for any live band? Because album sales are what they are because people download everything illegally today, or at least most people do. Do you find that you have to concentrate more on playing live? Is that the preference of the band, or do you still enjoy going into the studio and putting out that new product where that's really the first time and the first thing people will hear by a band?
Well, the thing is, I definitely enjoy going to a studio at all, but I don't want to stay there for too long. But that is just more about me than the business or the band in general. It's to us, it's still, to make those songs, to create the music. It all feeds off each other, obviously, and it all goes hand in hand. But we do treat the production cycle of the album extremely seriously, and it's there's this this blur in the middle of going to the studio and stuff that is it's also a lot of fun. It's also a creative thing, but my favorite parts is, I guess, the beginning and the end of it. The conception, the first, writing those first notes and getting the songs together, and the demo part of the process, and then the moment you get to go on stage and actually perform it for people are my two favorite phases. So I'm a more of a live setting person myself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, are you going to be back in the U.S. this year? I mean, I remember you here with Lacuna Coil. Was that the first time you were in the U.S., I think, too, also, wasn't it?
First time on American soil with Lacuna Coil and Seven Dust.
That's right,
and
Seven
that was
Dust.
really, really cool.
When you come to a country for the first time, I mean, do you sit there like saying, I don't know what to expect, or, are the fans going to be there? People know who we are. Is that like something that goes through your mind before you get somewhere? And when do you get comfortable, like when you start playing, saying, hey, they know who we are,
Yeah, well, you have all these questions and expectations, and and all the what ifs and both negative and positive ones. What it turned out to be is that it wasn't so much about finding people who knew who we were, but more since it was our first time, and especially the part of the tour where we were opening, it's about we will make them find out. And the cool thing about here in the U.S. is one of those places where people make sure to turn up in time for the opening acts and check out what's happening, the new stuff. So, and that helped us tremendously. And we got a whole, so our expectations, we didn't know what to expect really, and that made us in part, very nervous to some extent, but also, you could weave those dreams before coming here, and I must say that most of it came true.
I'm so happy for you with that. I mean, I'm looking forward to the new record. And when you're writing like as a fan, when I hear say like "Let Us Die" and I hear that riff and that music start playing, it just like blows my mind. Like, wow, this is so good. But when you're writing those songs and putting them together, do any of those riffs ever like catch you and say, wow, this is going to be really good? Like, do you get like that fan moment to yourself, like when you're actually writing songs?
Yeah, and I actually specifically remember the "Let Us Die" one because that riff was embedded in another, in something that wasn't a complete song, but a series of riff ideas and a certain structure that Kungen, the guitar player, was working on. and we're listening, we're giving some feedback and all that, and we all try to figure out what do we do with this, and then bam, somewhere in the middle came this riff, the most primitive of the whole series of music, all the stuff that was on that particular track when he was doing the demo for it, and we all immediately looked at each other and felt like this is so epic, and that is just one note and a simple groove, basically, and that could take you to so many places in your mind and really make you want to mosh pit then and there in the basement.
That's so true.
So it really happens and that is really, we are a bunch of creative people who make up some stuff here and there and try to, we work in part individually, and then we present it to each other and finish it off as a group, really, and during that, and it's also always when you show each other and you see the reaction of your partners in a band, and you really find out what truly works, and that is how when I start working on lyrics and the vocals, I always start on the end of the stuff that gave me images in the head to feed off on, the stuff that gave me vision.
Wow. Well, I'm looking forward to your vision for the new record. It comes out this May. Johannes, I can't thank you enough for talking with me today. Do you think we're going to see the band again here in the U.S. this year?
Yeah, and that is to be announced shortly.
I can't wait to see you guys again. Thank you very much for talking with me today. The best of luck with the new record, and I can't wait to see you guys live again this year.
Well, thank you, and I want to make sure to tell people, by the way, that on Monday, March 17th, the music video for our new song, Hail the Apocalypse, will be online, and I want to urge people to check that one out. And
I will let everybody know.
What's going to happen.
Thank you very much, Hans. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
You take care. Bye.